Bobby Chevalier lived down this road for more than 50 years. No one thought such a vicious attack could happen here.
Grant Parish Sheriff's Office confirmed the death of Bobby Chevalier.
After
A neighbor went over to see what was going on and found her on the ground, unconscious.
Unconscious in her backyard with bite wounds to her lower half of her body.
Officials are now waiting on the autopsy results and DNA results.
And we're waiting on
Chevalier had that woman
Giving her time. All the test results to come back in about 3 weeks. Funeral services for Bobby Chevalier on Friday.
But I had begged her not to go out, burn trash, but she said, you have to do something, and we'll never know what happened.
I guess I was 7, and I had 2 chickens, Tommy and Tammy. Well, Tommy was a rooster. I had a goat named Mark, and I had 2 pigs, Jackie and Jill, 2 wiener dogs, and the poodle. There were just a lot of animals always, so I think we would like eat them and then get more, but I thought they died, I'm not sure. So my original last name was P, B-E-E. My mom and my biological father were married for about a year, they were married a few years, but they divorced when I was about a year old. And I got the last name forever. So everyone from my entire hometown has called me P my whole life. And then every time the loudspeaker would call for me, everyone would start like laughing and saying that I have to go pee. And well, I don't know, they'd call me like Molly Pee Pee Pants. Molly's gotta pee. But my mom mostly called me Peter. Who knows? My mom was like, I think even as a child, she was just like really, really bright and full of life no matter where she went. Like as soon as you walk in the room, she would walk in the room. It's like everyone would kind of stop to see what was going to happen with her because she was hilarious and fun and like full of this like big spark of life everywhere. And she would say funny things, and she would say really, really inappropriate funny things. And she would like just kind of get the joke before anyone else would, like recognize something that was completely outrageous before everyone else. I was at home and we were like rearranging our house, kind of, because I do that shit a lot where I want to change all the rooms in my house. And I like kind of froze and I had this really uncomfortable feeling and almost felt sick. And I decided we needed to order something to eat because maybe I need to eat because I'm feeling funny. And then like right as I sat down to kind of think about it and order something, I got the phone call. It was my Papa Bear that called, and he said, what are you doing? Like real casual. And I told him that I was having a heart attack because I was scared something was wrong with my mom. And then he kind of casually tried to tell me because it was hard to tell me what had just happened. And I think I just like threw the phone across the room and then went into freak out mode for about 2 hours of like screaming. There were actually a lot of people there who were trying to save her, like doing CPR, and then the ambulance came and they were trying to do it, but it was just kind of like done. There was nothing. So I come home, and about a week and a half later, I get a phone call that my oldest stepsister was going to have 5-way bypass surgery on her heart. And when they did the cath, they saw that everything was blocked, and they did this emergency surgery. And then she gets to go home, so she's okay, and she gets to go home, and she's like at home resting. And my other stepsister, Jessica, is there with her, kind of being with her and spending time with her and kind of helping her a little. And she like stands up from where she was sitting, and she looks at Charlie, who's my oldest stepsister, and says, I don't feel very good, and collapses. So she does exactly the same thing that my mom did. We were on our way to Louisiana, and it was right before my mom's birthday. And I was planning on spreading my mom's ashes with my stepdad. That was the plan. And then when we were driving on our way to Louisiana for that occasion, we got a phone call that he was in the hospital in Shreveport and we should rush there because it's not looking good. And When I got there, he was in renal failure, which is your kidneys and your liver, everything is just shutting down completely, and there's just nothing that can be done. That first week of September, I found out I was pregnant. I was just gonna keep it secret and mind my own business, and I was really gonna keep it secret till I was like huge and then just tell people I got fat and just keep it very much, hopefully no one would know for a very long time, and I would just kind of go about my business. I guess like the second week of October, I think my husband's uncle died suddenly. And then 1 week later, he got a phone call that his best friend died. Just like died. He just was sitting on a couch watching a movie with his wife and his daughter, and he died. His heart just stopped. And so that happened. Well, then the very next week, I guess that same week was the week of the funeral. And the funeral was actually on the day that I would have my very first doctor's appointment. So I was 10 weeks pregnant and had been waiting to go to the doctor. I was so anxious and excited. And we go in, and the ultrasound screen is like enormous, and it pops up, and we're like, oh, look at the baby, all excited and happy. And then I just keep looking at it and looking at it and looking at it like something's not right. And then I look at the doctor, and she looks horrified, and I'm like, God damn it. Each thing that's happened has forced me to put the other to the side to deal with what's presently happening. So, my mom died, and I had to push that aside a little to deal with my stepsister dying, and then I had to push that aside for my stepdad dying, and I had to push that aside for losing this baby, and I can't fucking stop pushing things to the side, and then they're just piled up. It's exhausting. My grandma was a feisty redheaded woman. She was not one to mess with growing up. She lived at this big house for 50 years. The day before Thanksgiving, she was going out with her little bag of trash, because she always had a bag that she put newspapers in, and that was her burn pile trash. And she was taking it out to burn it, I guess, and no one really knows what happened, but the neighbors found her about 4:30, and she had been mauled by dogs. The dogs were eating her, and they had pretty much completely ripped all of the tissue and muscle off of her legs. But I also, my entire life, remember my grandma hated dogs, despised them. And so it just kind of blows me away that that's part of her story, is that that's what happened after someone who hates dogs. During the funeral, there was this moment where I was talking to an uncle about some important things, and we looked over, and a stray dog walked up and peed on a nativity that was in front of the church. That was funny. So everybody thinks that death happens in threes, right? Except for that's clearly not the fucking case. So here's what people do whenever you die in a small town like Pollock or Alexandria. Everybody brings food, even though you can't eat, and everybody asks you how you're doing, and you're doing fucking awful. And whenever you say horrible, that's not what they wanted to hear, so they look at you crazy. And everyone has told me that death happens in three. I would probably say at least there's been a good 7 to 8 people that have said something about the 3. But probably at least 20 to 30 fucking people have told me that I've had a bad year. And every time I'm so thankful that they've reminded me of what a shitty year it's been, because I keep forgetting. I keep thinking, this is a great year. Until they remind me at a fucking funeral.